Let's discuss measures of dispersion. Contents. There are contents that we discuss there. Measure of dispersion. What is measure of dispersion? Spread or distribution of data. Express the scattering of data from mean or average. Indicate variation of data from one another. Show homogeneity or heterogeneity of data distribution. Non-negative real number. Characteristics must be understandable and easy to calculate, should be based on all observations, must be properly explained, should not be affected by outliers. That is a graphical representation of two data having same mean but different dispersion. Zero dispersion. If data observed values are similar or with minor difference, then dispersion will be zero. If low dispersion, if observed values are close to average value, then the dispersion always greater than zero. High dispersion. If observed values are far away from average value, then dispersion will be high. Dispersion and measure of dispersion. That is a graphical representation of dispersion. If in case of zero dispersion, high dispersion, and low dispersion. Type of Types of dispersion. There are two types of dispersion: absolute measure of dispersion and relative measure of dispersion. In absolute measure of dispersion, indicate the amount of variation in set of values and expressed in same units in which data is expressed, for example kilogram, kilometer, liters, etc., for dispersion of only one data distribution. For example, when rainfall data is made available for different days in millimeter, but may any absolute measure of dispersion give the variation in rainfall in millimeter. For following are the method of measuring absolute measure of dispersion. That's are measure dispersion types in which range, mean deviation, variance, and standard deviation. What is range? The difference between maximum and minimum values of data set is called range, not based on all observations, can be affected by fluctuation of sampling. For example, range in which maximum value minus minimum value of data. For example, data set 2, 4, 8, 10, 12, maximum values in it 12 and minimum value is 2, so then range will be 12 minus 2 is equal to 10. That's or like in this diagram we show that range in minimum and maximum. Minimum value is 3 and maximum value is 9. 9 minus 3 then is equal to 6. Mean deviation, arithmetic mean of absolute deviation observation from a mean value. The average use either arithmetic mean or median. For example, that's the formula. Negative sign is ignored. Based on all observation, its calculation are difficult and time consuming. Mean deviation. Variance. According to Lehman, it is a measure of how far this set of data are separated out from their mean value. Measure of how data points differ from mean. Mean of square deviation from mean. Degree of variability. Variance is directly proportional to variability, and variability is directly proportional to difference of individual value from mean value. If the zero variance is equal to identical values in data set, it cannot be a negative value. Variance cannot be negative. There's a graphical representation in which high variance and low variance. Formula of variance. Population variance formula, and is that simple variance formula. When comparing different samples, similar or equal variants are required for performing parametric tests like ANOVA. Parametric tests are used for normal data. For non-parametric tests, uneven variants are preferred. Non-parametric tests are used for skew data. Drawbacks of variance. It can add weight to outliers. In variance, square of values can change. Standard deviation, the positive square root of arithmetic mean of square root of deviation of given values from arithmetic mean. Square root of variance, for example, formula. Square root of deviation, a standard deviation is equal to square root of arithmetic mean. A low standard deviation shows that the values tend to be approaching to mean of set, while a high standard deviation indicates the values spread across a wider range, less affected by fluctuation of sampling. It provides an accuracy where the values of frequency distribution are located in relation to standard deviation. In simple standard deviation, there's formula, and in population deviation, the second one is formula is used. Quartile and quartile deviation. Quartile and quartile deviation. Quartiles are the values that divide the data in quarters, such as first quartile 25%, second quartile 50%, and third quartile 75%. The first quartile is the middle number between the smallest number and median of the data. The second quartile is the median of the set data. The third quartile is the middle number between median and largest number. Quartile can be seen in box plot. Quartile division is the half of distance between third and first quartile. By finding out first quartile, that's n plus 1 by 4 formula is used, that order observation, and second in case of second, in case of third, and so on. In quartile range. In quartile range is also called mid-spread. It is a measure of statistical dispersion being equal to the distance between 75th and 25 percentiles are between upper and lower quartiles. There's a formula in quartile range. Semi-quartile range is 1 by 2 half multiplied Q3 minus Q1. Relative measure of dispersion. Independent of unit used to measure absolute measure of dispersion for comparing two or more distributions, also known as coefficient of variation, calculated as ratio or percentage. Following is a method of measuring relative measure of dispersion. Coefficient of dispersion. The coefficient of dispersion are calculated along with measure of dispersion when two series are compared at different value in their averages. The dispersion coefficient is also used when two series are different measure units. That's coefficient of dispersion range, coefficient of dispersion formula, mean deviation, coefficient of dispersion formula, standard deviation, and quartile. There is a coefficient of dispersion formula that's used for measuring coefficient of dispersion. Example of relative measure of dispersion. If data set consists of 0.2458 and 18, the range could be 18 minus 2 is equal to 16. Analogous relative measure of dispersion is the coefficient of range. This is given by a higher value to lower value divided by higher value plus lower value. For our example, data is could be a ratio. Then we put the values and the answer will be given there. Importance of measure of dispersion: to interrupt the variability of data, to compare variability of two or more data sets, for facilitating the use of statistical measures. It is used in conjunction with measure of central tendency such as mean or median to provide an overall distribution of set of data.